Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're taking a deep dive into some really significant news. It's coming from the Supreme Court, and it's a decision that, well, it could have pretty widespread implications for how policies get implemented in the U.S. Our source material is from Reuters, published just today, June 27th, 2025, and it reports the U.S. Supreme Court might rule on allowing the enforcement of Trump's birthright citizenship stance. So our mission here is to really understand what this potential ruling involves. What specific bit of birthright citizenship are they looking at? And, crucially, why is that word enforcement so key here?
Yeah, what's fascinating, and the source points this out, is that the court isn't necessarily ruling on, the constitutionality of birthright citizenship itself, not the core 14th Amendment idea.
Hmm.
Instead, the focus seems to be squarely on the ability to enforce specific policies related to Trump's previous efforts on this. And that raises a really important question, doesn't it, about the scope of executive action versus judicial review in such a,
Yeah.
well, a fundamental area.
Right, that difference.
Hmm.
Challenging the principle versus challenging its application.
Yeah.
That seems critical. So for our listeners, when we talk enforcement here, are we talking about, say, the executive branch, maybe agencies like USCIS, making new rules that change how birthright citizenship is applied day to day, even if the 14th Amendment itself isn't being questioned directly?
Precisely. Yeah, that's the core of it. It's not about whether someone is a citizen if born here under the usual understanding of the 14th Amendment. It's more about how authorities might interpret, perhaps, who qualifies under very specific administrative rules, maybe linked to the parent's status or their residency at the time of birth, and then, crucially, how they enforce those particular interpretations. So the court is essentially weighing how much leeway the executive has in defining and applying the existing law, not so much its basic validity. You could see it as a way to maybe clarify or even modify who benefits from the law without needing a constitutional amendment or even a new law from Congress.
Okay. And for you, the listener, especially if you follow legal matters, this is way more than just a technical point, isn't it? I mean, this has the potential to set a pretty major new precedent. How might a ruling that focuses just on enforcement, not the underlying legality, how might that create new avenues for future presidents,
Hmm.
regardless of their party?
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like this could really shift the balance of power for future administrations.
It certainly could. This decision, whichever way it goes, allowing enforcement or denying it, it will definitely shape the boundaries of executive authority, particularly where it intersects with long-standing legal interpretations that Congress hasn't stepped in to change explicitly. I mean, think about it. If an administration can push through a significantly different interpretation of existing law just through enforcement actions, well, that could allow for major policy shifts without that whole difficult legislative process. It might make some changes easier, faster maybe, but it also potentially opens the door to more unilateral executive moves in really sensitive areas like immigration, for instance.
So when we boil it down, this deep dive really shows the Supreme Court it's grappling with the power to enforce a particular interpretation, an interpretation of an established constitutional principle, rather than reevaluating the principle itself. It's about the how, the mechanism of implementation.
That's right. And the extent to which an executive can use that mechanism to bring about change. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the court's ruling here, yeah, allow or deny, it's going to set markers. It will definitely shape executive authority boundaries and judicial oversight on immigration for, well, for administrations to come. It's significant for how future presidents might operate.
So here's where it gets really interesting, something for you to think about. How might a Supreme Court ruling focus narrowly on the enforcement side of things? How might that influence any future administration, Republican or Democrat, when they want to act on contentious issues but face legislative gridlock? Could this ruling fundamentally change the playbook for executive power itself? Something to consider.